no one. Our most reliable players being very unreliable. A young lad who should have been hooked. Think the week off comes at a good time for us. Wonder if we always make the away team dress in the lead shirts, Maguire would play his heart out every week.
I think he makes a good point. I don't think Maguire isn't training every day. Maguire isn't fit.
No.
And it's pretty clear. And he is basically having one game where he plays well and one game where he's a passenger. It does feel a bit like that for me with Danny Maguire at the moment. And when you lose an interchange, all of a sudden the other players who are working extra time, look at them tackling numbers, they're all working extra time. They can't cover as much for him. When you've got an interchange player down, the energy levels drop, and it becomes problematic because he then has to do more work, and then he's even less effective in the final third. I think is the way I'd explain that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's your game to talk about. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I think for me it was a really poor match, wasn't it? There wasn't a lot to get excited about. I didn't think that there was a great deal of good play. There's not a lot that you sort of think, oh yeah, that was the highlight. I thought, as shown by the stats, I thought McGilvray had a good game. I thought he was very involved with things,
winning penalties or trying to win penalties quite a lot as well, weren't he, which was important, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you know what the thing that sticks in my memory the most out of this game, which possibly underlines the point you just made, was that conversion that Donnell McIntosh missed from right point in front of the sticks?
Yeah.
That's for the Matty English, was it for them? No, it was for the Alex Mellor try. So it was about 10 yards to the side of the sticks, maybe 5 yards to the side. It was, that sticks in my mind more than any of the rest of this.
Yeah.
And it started like it was going to be exciting. Both sides scored within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, the Kane Lynette one went to the video ref, didn't it? And actually was, thinking about it, it was a decent try. It was a nice kick, wasn't it? And he did well to get on the end of it.
Definitely. Both tries in the first 15 minutes were neatly worked, but there was absolutely no creativity for pretty much the rest of the game.
Yeah. It was just, yeah.
And yet, just as bad as Hull KR were, that they still scored a try with 5 minutes left, and actually, finally, there was a watchable period of this game where it felt quite frantic. It felt like everything was on the line, but it felt like something could happen, which was worth watching because most of it wasn't, was it? So right. Other than Jerry McGilvray, was there anyone else you think stood out before we skip along from this game?
Not particularly. No, I don't think so.
Let's move on then to one of the 4 games on Sunday. Actually, I've done a bit of a weird one here. Normally, I put the game that finished last on the sheet last, but we're going to go to Castleford versus Warrington.
That seems to go on forever. Because we'd walked back to the car, got in the car, driving, and there was still 10 minutes left, and we weren't quick leaving the ground.
Yeah, it always is a bit weird that they have that 3:30 kickoff time, so they get the sort of crescendo of all the coverage they get to have. But I think they made it pay this week, and they came out with a 27-18 victory. It was 12-8 to Castleford at half time. 6,965 there. Scott Mikolauskas was the referee. That's not a great crowd for Cass. I'm not sure if Warrington didn't take too many. Although apparently a good amount stayed on for the women's game, which is positive.
I think Cassie's attendances have been down recently.
Well, it was the first back-to-back win for a while, and the coach said it was one of the best performances of the year, so hopefully people will start turning up back through the door. Maybe it's because they have to actually pay now whether than pass tickets over.
Could be.
Anyway, in terms of the stats, Warrington may well rue their wastefulness if they ended up with 5 more breaks on the stats, but also 4 more handling errors. Cass overcame a significantly worse team tackle success rate by having 250 more metres at 1 metre per carry better average gain than their visitors. Individually, Jordan Rankin, 3 try assists, 134 metres. James Clare, 1 try, 6 tackle balls, 150 metres, 3 clean breaks. And Jake Truman, 1 try, 134 metres and 2 clean breaks. For the losing Warrington side, Darryl Clark, 6 tackle balls and 137 metres. Toby King, a try assist, 132 metres and 2 clean breaks. So he continues to have his best season. Jake Mamo, 1 try, 102 metres. And Ben Curry, 1 try assist, plus 43 tackles, 13 of which were marker tackles.
Not bad.
Yeah, Ben Curry you don't often see in the tackling stats, do you, these days? Because obviously, if he's tackling a lot, he's probably going to get broken. But not this time. Do you want to give us the first of them fan reviews?
Yes, Tom Andrews said, reckon they should have given those young lads Livette and Johnson a run out. Good lads, them. Serves the turtle head right for not picking them. Never heard Steve Price called that before.
No, but all I can picture now is his chinless head poking its way out of a turtle shell.
I know, I've got the same picture.
Mike Dodd 22 said, made my first trip to Cass for this one. Warrington only had themselves to blame. Numerous handling errors early in sets, and we must have been carried over the sideline at least 5 times. Charnley's assist for the Truman try summed up the afternoon. Big turnaround needed ahead of next week. Yes, sloppiness abound, actually, so Mike had a front row seat for that one. Or a front row stand. Yeah.
Fat Boy Rob said, an English halfback versus an English halfback. One played out of his skin while Mr. Austin went missing in action. Cass are looking more like a top 5 team. Ranking at fullback is working well, and we seem to sort our defence out at last. Wire were grubby all the way through. I hope FC smash them next week.
Do you want to read the hashtag out?
Hashtag COYMFRRF.
I'd have said Coimafurf. Okay, where to start with this one? I listened to the same last eternal half an hour on the radio that you did, Sarah, and I got a bit annoyed.
I was following it on Twitter. I didn't even have the radio.
Ah, well, I got a bit annoyed because I'd sort of... Warrington had built my hopes up by what now, when I've seen the highlights, looks like a knock-on by Tom Lynham in scoring a try. But they basically scored just before and just after half-time, did Warrington, and had the lead at that stage. And it made me think that they might go on to win the game, which, from my Wigan cap on perspective, that would have helped solidify our playoff position. But Castleford definitely deserved this game. They struck at crucial times. That Jake Truman try being probably the most entertaining try of the game, partly because of the Josh Charnley looping pass to no one that Truman just was the zippiest and most eager to get on, and then run clear 60 metres on his own with no one getting near him to score a try. And that try actually on the hour mark really was the try that broke Warrington's back. Warrington being so wasteful with their opportunities, like Mike says, getting pushed into touch a lot, making quite a lot of errors as well.
It's such an easy ground to get pushed into touch on, though, isn't it? It's so much narrower than a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So you
do have to watch that.
Got someone on you quickly, haven't you? Yeah, it's a small pitch, like you say. And I just think Warrington at this stage now, with a 2-score deficit that they were facing, it just never sounded like they were going to put together enough to score 2 tries unanswered. And actually, as it turned out, that they managed a late try to almost make it exciting, but Patton missed the conversion, and it kind of meant that Cass just saw out the rest of the game, and Jake Truman kicked a drop goal. And Jake Truman has picked up his form, hasn't he? He started to come in for a bit of criticism a few weeks ago. He was resorting to the kick a lot. He wasn't really asking too many questions of his opposition. But actually, and he had a new halfback partner in this one. Paul McShane started the game at 7 or at scrum half. He's actually found his form again and started to impress. So that's a really good sign for Cass. A bad sign for the other teams.
Truman did that whole thing of like he was a young kid, exciting and all the rest of it, and then he sort of settled into the team, and people knew what to expect of him, and the opposition knew what to expect of him, and his form dipped a bit. But yeah, he seems to have come out the other side now, like you say.
Yeah, definitely he has. I mean, Castleford actually, after winning a game last week, made a lot of changes to the side this week. Maybe Powell's realised that that's the way to keep them on their toes, possibly. But it certainly worked well for them. They played very well in this game. Warrington, not so much. Austin had a couple of moments. He put in a kick that led to the Mamo try. He seemed to be there and thereabouts in some of the highlights, but he didn't take control of this game at all. And they started with their prime pack with Hill, Cooper and Jason Clark all starting their three big middles, or three important middles, and maybe they just didn't quite get what they wanted off the bench then as a result when some of those players had to start going off the pitch. But yeah, not the preparation for a semi-final that they would want when they're looking so rusty. I'm not sure if they're going to get any players back. Obviously, Sitaleki Akwala is still out suspended. So some big decisions to make, but they're not really getting much strike out of a lot of their strike weapons. Bryson Goodwin's kind of fallen off a little bit the last 3 or 4 weeks. The second row, I don't really see them making many inroads. You don't see Curry and Hughes scoring tries, making meters, which is what was happening when Warrington looked good. They found really good lines. And remember early in the season, Ben Curry had rediscovered his international form and was really running some fantastic lines and asking questions all the time of the opposition. But it feels like he's gone off the boil a little bit at the moment as well. But stuff to sort out for Warrington for next week, that's for sure.
Well, I'm quite happy if they want to put it off a couple of weeks.
Hey, put it off the whole rest of the season, Sarah. Why do we care?
Well, this is it, yeah. They could, maybe think about it in the close season.
I mean, I'm not even that fussed if they...
Yeah, all right, fair enough. They can just carry on.
Let's move on to a game then that you do definitely care a lot about, and it was Sunday's game at Headingley Stadium. It was finished Leeds 24, Hull FC 26. Half time, it was 12-6 to Hull FC. There were 13,351 there, and refereed by Marcus Griffiths, who has to be the youngest referee I've ever seen. In fact, somebody put a tweet out saying that the average age of the officials was 19, and that was only because one of the touch judges must have been 35. Do you remember what was his name? Was Joe Cobb, was that his name? Yeah. Who had to leave the game because he was getting too much abuse, I think. But when he first had his first game, that was the youngest referee I'd ever seen. But well, Griffiths is in that rank, isn't he? When your 9-year-old son comments on how young the officials look. What have I told him about? Give him back chat to the refs. He didn't give any back chat to the ref. He just remarked. But then, again, their ref from Thursday night was about 90, I think. So there is some experienced referees around somewhere. Yeah. The stats came in late on this one, so I cobbled them together during my lunch hour. They don't seem to tell the true story of this. The stats don't tell the full story of this game, because if they did, Leeds would probably have won. They made more meters at a better average game. They had 6 more breaks, more offloads, a better tackle success rate too. But Hull FC were more controlled with 3 fewer errors and 2 fewer penalties conceded. Individually, Jamie Shaw with a try and 110 metres, Josh Griffin with a try and 112 metres, Mark Minicello with 111 metres, and mate, Danny Houghton, 50 tackles, 10 of which were marker tackles. What else would you expect from him? For the losing Leeds Rhinos, Ash Hanley a try, 8 tackle busts, 243 metres, 3 clean breaks. Conrad Hurrell with a try, 7 tackle busts, 147 metres, and Adup Cuthbertson with 139 metres, 3 offloads. Jack Walker finally, 1 try assist, 7 tackle busts, and 130 metres. Yeah, interestingly, I think that the stats actually are really interesting, because I would say that Leeds, in some ways, were the better team, but they couldn't hold on to the ball. So they made a couple of breaks, and both times they dropped the ball when they were in clear space. So maybe the stats do tell the full story of the game. I mean, there were 2 or 3
times in the first half that really they should have gone on and scored, but they just dropped the